In this video, I'm going to be going over how to win more unlimited games in Season 7 in NBA 2K23 Myteam to go after this free Dark Matter Artist Gilmore and also all the other prizes you do get from Unlimited in Season 7. So as you guys can see, I'm 2-0, but that doesn't really matter. Just going to show you guys my tips and tricks of how to win more unlimited games in Season 7. So the first thing I do want to talk about is going to be your squad. I think the team you run with is honestly one of the biggest factors in having an advantage to win a game and lose a game as well. Obviously it does matter, more so in the game, right? Because you can be a really good player and win with a very decent team, or you can be a really bad player, have a god squad, and then still lose. But I think the team structure matters more than the actual cards you use. And what I mean by that is just first off having enough size. You look at this starting five and it's not a bad starting five. I just don't have enough size, on my starting lineup. I got James Harden at point guard, T-Mac at shooting guard, LeBron at the 3, Thurl Bailey at the 4, and Marc Gasol at the 5. It's a really good starting lineup, right? But we don't have enough size in our front court between Thurl Bailey and Marc Gasol. So something you'd want to do, at least in my opinion, is you'd want to start Brook Lopez at center and then go Marc Gasol at the starting power forward position. Or if you have a card like a Taco Fall or you have a Giants, that's the perfect card that I could use on a squad like this, is going ahead and getting Taco Fall, because then he can play starting power forward and then my Marc Gasol can play the starting 5. But for this squad, I think you'd have to go Marc Gasol at power forward, Brook Lopez at center, and then I'd have to look to get some better cards off my bench. So that's the main thing, is you guys want to make sure you have enough size to match up against the Manute Bulls, the Rick Smiths, the Taco Falls, the Yao Mings. I think I might have already said Yao, but those just really tall cards in the game. You need to make sure that you guys have the cards to be able to deal with them. That's why getting those free cards like Rick Smith, Artist Gilmore are super valuable to get, because that's why Artist Gilmore is so valuable, because he can play center and he's got enough size, defense, wingspan, height where he can play the center spot, and then you can run a guy like Marc Gasol at power forward. So that's the first tip, is make sure you guys have enough height just across the board. You don't really want to have any cards below 6'5". That's why I think my best starting lineup is actually probably this, right? I start Hedo Turkoglu over James Harden, and then I would start Scalabrine, let's just say, over LeBron. I'm choosing LeBron because he's my favorite player and I like using him, but this will be my best starting 5 in the game on the squad I already currently have. Hedo Turkoglu, Tracy McGrady, Brian Scalabrine, Marc Gasol, and then Brook Lopez. This is easily my best starting 5 because we got a good balance of offense between Tracy McGrady. Scalabrine can score, Hedo Turkoglu can score, and then we also have great size and defense. Hedo Turkoglu 6'10", T-Mac 6'8", Brian Scalabrine 6'9", Marc Gasol 7'1", Brook Lopez 7'1". So obviously, yes, we could use a Taco Fall, Artist Gilmore, Rick Smith, a Yao, Manute Bull. Those cards obviously could play in this lineup and they'd be a lot better. But what I'm saying is this would be my best starting 5 because we got the height, we got the defense, and the scoring ability. So that's the first thing I did want to talk about, is going to have to do with your guys' squad. I think just making sure you have enough size is super important, and also make sure on your squad you guys got good balance of offense. I would say normally 2 ball handlers. So I got T-Mac, Hedo, who can be like my 2 main source of offense. And then you want to have that 1 lockdown guy, and for me that'd be Brian Scalabrine, a guy that can guard their best opponent. Because if you match up against a T-Mac, a LaMelo, all these good point guards, you're gonna need a guy that can be the lockdown, and I think for my starting lineup that would be Brian Scalabrine. So that's just the first thing I did want to talk about. The second thing I want to talk about is gonna be the defensive settings, because this is one of the more important things as well when you're playing in Unlimited. So first thing you guys want to do is go over to your lineup screen. I think a lot of people don't know you can actually set up your defensive settings this year before actually going into the game. So you go down to coach settings, and the first thing you want to do is make sure that your timeout, your player minutes, and your substitution are on manual, and then you want to turn the adaptive coaching engine to off. That's just going to basically mean that your defensive settings are actually going to work in game. And then for your defensive settings, I have multiple videos going more in depth of why I'm choosing each setting and just explaining it more in detail. So if you guys want to go check out those videos, you can definitely go ahead and do so. But I'm just going to quickly run through what are the defensive settings I currently run. On ball pressure smother, off ball pressure tight, on ball screen go over, on ball screen center go over, hedge I play no hedge for the normal hedge, and then no hedge for the hedge center. I play with stay attached on yes. Drive help rules and screen help rules are both going to be on no help. And then the last main thing is going to be transition defense, putting that to no threes. That's going to really help for transition when you're trying to get back, that you don't leave people wide open to shoot threes. And then also the last thing before we talk about more so offense is going to be actually your coach, because I think a coach at this stage of my team can really help boost up some of these cards. So great budget options are guys like Monty Williams, Kelsey Plum, Sabrina, those WNBA Diamond coaches. Those are going to be some really good budget options. The coach I'd recommend is probably Monty Williams, Sabrina, or Kelsey Plum. Those are 3 amazing coaches to be running on your squad, and I do think that makes a pretty decent difference. Now I do want to quickly go into freestyle and talk about just some dribble sigs and some dribble moves that you guys should have, you know, somewhat in your bag that you can pull out, and it's going to be super simple stuff like the snatchback. So I'm not going to be going over any complex dribble moves, complex, you know, combos. Just going to be going over very simple stuff that I think everybody in the game should know how to do. So the first thing is going to be what's called the snatchback, and how to do the snatchback is you want to go up on the right stick, down on the left stick, and it doesn't matter if you're holding R2, it doesn't matter if you're not holding R2, just up on the right stick. It's not at the same time, so it's not both at the same time, because you'll do like this or something. It's not at the same time. It is, you know, one after the others. It's one after the other. So right stick up, left stick down, and it's called the snatchback, or at least that's what I call it, drag back, whatever you do want to call it. I think it's a super effective move to create space on the offensive end. So that's the first thing you guys want to learn, you know, for dribbling, is definitely going to be what I call the snatchback. Once again, I might make a dribble tutorial in the future going over actually how to move really well, but I think that's the main thing you guys want to learn. And then obviously like how to size up out of it. So for example, if you hit someone with the snatchback, you want to learn how to size up, right? A size up is basically you're holding the ball in your right hand, or sorry, for example, I'll explain the left hand because it's a lot easier. So if the ball is in your left hand and you want to go to your right hand in like a size up motion, basically what you do is you're holding down RT and you want to flick your right stick to the right, and it's going to do this motion right here. It's kind of how you can crab people a little bit, but basically if you're coming down the court, right, and you want to hit someone with the, you kind of size up into a snatchback, I think it's actually a lot easier. See how I'm going left to right and then snatchback, and then you can also like misdirection. That's something else I'll explain, but the main thing is like sizing up, snatchback, right, and then bursting out of it with a size up. That is just a very simple combo move, and that's the thing I think that's the thing that you guys want to learn the most, is just how to combo out of the snatchback, because that can be your main source of offense. You know, I think that can be your main source of offense when it does come to dribble sigs. And then the other thing is learning what's called the normal leaner, basically the fade. Vince Carter actually is the pro too, so if I go to a card that has a normal fade, we'll just go to Tracy McGrady. I believe he has a normal fade, right? Yeah, so he's got the normal fade. What you want to do is hold down R2, and this is only on next gen for the normal fade, and you basically just want to run to the right holding R2, and then you want to be able to time that shot, because that's going to be a super effective way to score, especially if you're boxed, right? Let's say you can't get anything, you want to run to the right, shoot that normal fade, and it's actually fairly easy to green on next gen, and is one of the easier ways to score. And if you guys don't have that, you should at least have that in your bag. So if you're getting boxed, or you just, you know, you can see that, like there's a bunch of times, you know, where there's a bunch of times where you can run to the corner right off a screen, and you see that somebody got stuck, and instead of having to like stop, shoot, and then that person's going to contest you, you can actually just come around a screen here and shoot that normal fade in the corner, and you create a lot more separation, and you get a lot more wide open with being able to shoot the normal fades. So that's something that's really important in my opinion, is being able to shoot those normal fades, especially in transition, right? Like if you're running in transition and you want to shoot a frontward fade, it can sometimes be super effective to shoot those. Basically just learning how to shoot fades I think is really important to do on next gen. And then like I said, really learning how to combo up that size up, or yeah, learning how to combo the size up into the snatchback I think can be super effective. And like I said, I might make a future video where I go like fully in depth into dribble sigs and dribble moves and just how to combo stuff together, learning dribble moves. I might make a separate video, so let me know, would you guys want to see a dribble tutorial in the future? You know, just going over some more advanced and just some more advanced basic stuff. But that's just for now the stuff that I want to show you guys, learning how to shoot the fades and also learning that snatchback. Very simple stuff to do that I think everybody should know how to do. But now talking about your offensive settings and just setting up a freelance, I'm just going to quickly hop into a domination game here and show you guys the freelance you want to run, and then I'll hop into an unlimited game and show you guys what to actually be doing in the game. So I'm just in a domination game here just to show you guys your offensive settings and what you want to do to set up your freelance, because that is super important to do. So for example, freelance you want to set to Bucks 2018, and that's going to really help you guys on the offensive end. So I'll show you guys how to actually set it up in game once we get into an unlimited game, but that's just what I want to show you guys for your freelance, as you want to make sure that it's on Bucks 2018. So into the unlimited game, what you guys want to do is first off, your defensive settings, if you don't already set those up before game, you want to make sure your defensive settings are good to go. Make sure you have all the right defensive settings on. And then once again, you want to go into your offensive settings. You want to go down to freelance and you want to put on the Bucks 2018 and then make sure that your adaptive coaching engine is turned to off, because if you leave this on, basically everything I just showed you guys, like if you leave it on offense and defense, everything I just showed you guys for defensive settings, for offensive settings are just going to go out the window in the first couple of plays, because for whatever reason my team, I guess it's just how it works. You want to turn off adaptive coaching engine, you want to turn that to off. So yeah, basically guys, I showed you, basically tips and tricks of how to build your squad, what you guys want to look for, with height, defense, offense, that balance. You want to make sure you have enough height on your team. We went over the, offensive stuff, just like, quick couple dribble moves, normal leaner, very, very simple to do. And then also your defensive settings as well. That is super, super important. Make sure you're having the right defensive settings on, so you're not dropping corners, you're not getting blown by, people aren't just shooting in your face. And you can also do what my opponent is doing. And I might show you guys this. Actually, it's a little bit more advanced, but I think it actually can be pretty smart in game. It's a lot more complex, like really in-depth thinking. So what you can do is you can go over to your defensive settings and you can actually set specific matchups in game on the player. So for example, on ball pressure on Luka, we don't want to have on moderate or gap, because then Luka's going to have wide open threes. So what for Luka and a guard, you normally just keep it like this. But the difference is if you go over to a center, right, like a Yao Ming, you maybe don't have to put on ball pressure on Yao, because if he has the ball in his hands, we don't need to be pressuring up on him too much, right? The corner you can leave on off ball pressure to tight. And if it's a guard that actually, I just want to see what this guy's going to say. And anyway, but yeah, so if you're versing a card like a Wilt Chamberlain or a guy who's got a super beta jump shot, let's say you match up against a Ben Simmons, you don't want to have on-ball pressure, off-ball pressure on smother or tight. You can actually put that to like gap potentially if you do match up against a Ben Simmons, just because then, it's going to leave him more wide open because he's got that beta jump shot. So you can do more specific settings. Jonathan Isaac, you can maybe put on-ball pressure to tight on, because he's not going to be really looking to, shoot in your face. He's probably going to be looking to drive in. So that's really complex, in-depth thinking when it does come to, unlimited. My opponent's got a really good record, 42-23, I believe it was. But yeah, so matchups you can also do in game, and those can be super effective. So the first thing you guys want to do is set up your freelance, and what you can do that by is clicking right on the D-pad, going to freelance, and my opponent's going to double team. Okay, hold on. Love when people sweat and unlimited, but yeah, right on the D-pad, you want to click freelance, and then you want to click A to Bucks 2018. So my opponent definitely knows what he's doing. He's most likely going to be a sweat, so this is going to be a little bit tricky to actually explain stuff, as the game's going on. But that's just the first thing you want to do. Obviously, it doesn't take me that actually long to do in game, just kind of having to explain it, as we are going to give up that and one. But yeah, that is all you guys have to do on offense. Is first up, just set up your freelance. So my opponent, he's going to double team. He's going to play really, really weird in unlimited, and this is what you guys are going to face in a lot of your unlimited games. So this is probably the worst possible matchup to actually explain, what to do on offense, what to do on defense. I'll try my best. I might make a separate video, and you guys can let me know if you'd be interested in that, but I might make a separate video just fully explaining this part of unlimited and how to actually win games in the game, because it's so hard to explain while you're playing fast pace, while you're trying to play. So what I would do is probably record a game of me just playing, and then like voice over actually like what I'm doing and just explaining stuff more in detail. But I'll try to do my best explanation in this video of what I'm trying to do on offense and defense. So on defense, nothing really much to explain. I mean, it's little stuff like that, like baiting down low, right? Basically just swinging in lanes. Like it's hard to explain that type of stuff if you don't play my team all the time. Okay guys, so I really do apologize. I just can't explain what I'm trying to explain in unlimited. Everybody nowadays is just such sweats where it's almost impossible to actually explain. Like I can definitely play against these guys, and I know I can either beat them or give them a good game, but it's impossible to explain the very simple stuff in my team when you're getting double teamed every play, when people are, sending 3 people, when they're swinging. Like it's really hard to explain and also do at the same time. So what I like to do on offense, I know it's really hard to see. It's really hard to understand if you can't exactly see it. So I do apologize, but it's just really frustrating. I've gone into now like 2 unlimited games, and I just can't really get the footage because I can't explain it well actually in the game. But what I try to do on offense is I like to run a lot of pick and rolls. And what you can do out of the pick and roll is, like I said, you have so many different just options and reads you can make. Driving to the paint, kicking to the corner, shooting a 3, hitting the popper on the roll, hitting the guy on the roll, hitting the person on the pop, hitting the person on the slip. There's so many different things you can do out of the pick and roll, and that is my main source of offense. Another thing is backdoor cutting or back cuts, which is holding down Y on Xbox and holding down triangle on PlayStation. That is a great way to score. Basically, what you do is the nearest person on your team that's near you when you hold down Y on Xbox or triangle on PlayStation, that person's gonna backdoor cut. So if somebody's off balling, right? Like let's say they're on balling you, and then you see the CPU is guarding your player in the wing in the corner. What you can do sometimes is backdoor, and a lot of times it's really glitchy in this game. Will actually get in and behind them, and it's just a great way to score. So make sure you guys are trying out backdoor cuts and just learning how to do that. So backdoor cuts, pick and rolls is the main way I score on offense. Not really too much else to explain. It's just out of the pick and roll, the different reads you make, whether it's shooting the three, whether it's driving to the rim, getting the dunk, getting the layup, or kicking to the corner. That's just stuff that you guys are gonna have to learn as you guys go. Once again, guys, like I said, if you want me to make a separate video where I go fully in depth with just how to win actually in the game, I still think the tips of the team, the defensive settings, the offensive settings, the dribble sigs, and just this quick explanation is still super valuable to a lot of basic players. But if you guys maybe want a more advanced video where I just literally talk about in the unlimited game, where I'll play a game, voice over it, and give you guys my best explanation of how to do stuff, I think that's a lot easier than trying to do it live. It's just impossible nowadays when people are double teaming, have these super tall lineups, just sweating their absolute asses off, and I'm just trying to explain what a pick and roll is. It's very hard to explain if you guys have tried, or it's easy to play the game, I think personally, but having to actually explain what you're doing and teach people stuff when someone's double teaming with Yao Ming and Taco, it is really hard to do. But that's the main thing I want to say for offense. Pick and rolls, backdoor cuts is pretty much all you guys need to know, and you should be able to score. And make sure you guys are taking your twos, driving to the paint, because that's the best way to score. Don't be three happy. Don't try to hunt threes every single play unless that's something you do for fun. But the best way to score efficiently is just attacking the paint and scoring down low. It's just the most effective way to score the basketball in 2K23 my team. And then for defense, it's honestly, double teaming is super overpowered, especially if you do have a big lineup. And what you can do to double team is you hold down LB on Xbox, or you hold down L1 on PlayStation. I think it's called L1. That's how you guys double team, and it's super effective, especially if you have a tall lineup and you know how to rotate on defense, because that's what everybody does in Unlimited, and it's a super effective way to play defense. And then also, you know, A switching or just switch all defense can be super overpowered if once again you have a tall lineup. So I know a lot of this stuff might not make sense because, like I said, I can't exactly show you guys in game. Once again, I do apologize if you guys want to see a more in-depth video. I'll try to make it a lot better for you guys actually explaining in game, but hopefully you guys still did understand some basics. If you guys have any questions of how to of anything I explained and you want, you know, more in-depth answer, just or more detail explained, let me know in the comment section down below. Like I said, I still think for majority of players this basic information can be super helpful in Unlimited. And once again, I do apologize for not being able to get you guys the best in-game analysis and just breakdown, because it's super hard to do live while playing Unlimited. But hopefully you guys still enjoyed the video and it did help you guys out, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.